Good
Hello.
time of the day that it is, wherever it is that we are. And it is Atlantic Scrum, and it is Pair Hookup. And yes, let's go to, that's a reasonable place to be, Firefox over here, and get the screencast sorted out. We've got David and John and Michael and Paul and Pretty and myself in the house. And it is time to go to desktop 1. And I think it's time for a project-focused Scrum. Let us talk about local support, since we just had a client meeting this morning. Let's go to the notes for that. I can find it just over here. Here we go. Yes, freshly about to be saved. So yeah, I met up with Rachel, and Steve was there briefly, and yeah, I think that all seems to be fine. Steve has paid Rachel, and I can now submit Rachel an invoice. And we can start paying people for their work on that volunteer thing. I've moved us. I think I've moved us over to Ninefold now. Basically, I guess it's just a question now of I forgot what is it called, the DNS updating. But in principle, we've got a copy of the latest production data on this location. Okay, there we go. Right. Okay, we've maybe got this pointing. I've maybe got this pointing at the wrong server. Yes, I think I have.
Staging, maybe?
Yeah, I think I've got it pointing at staging. Og. Oh no. Damn. Is there not a Harrow production? Okay. So have these things got different? Yeah, because it should be pointing at this one. Oh bugger. Can anybody quickly work out the So okay, this is pointing to a different. Is this then the right? Okay. Ha. It's just going to continue to be one of those fortnights for me, I guess. Okay, so I guess that's Ninefold. It's maybe even pointing to the development server. Okay. Okay. So well, the attempt to get the Ninefold pointing at the right development server. I notice it's funny. Like, I don't know why in some situations I get this kind of. Yeah, it disappears there. Huh. Funny. Because at some resolutions I get this strange crosshairs. Anyway. So, but independently of me trying to push it out to Ninefold, or not move it to Ninefold, we had Rachel had done, she'd invited one additional person last week, and then it was in an office next to her, and then sat down with her, going through the the flow into the site as a new user, as an invited user. And a positive thing was she was saying it was much smoother than last time. So all credit particularly to John for helping smooth that out. She noted a couple of things. One, that the user totally missed the closing of the cookie policy thing, which was sort of getting in the way of her entering data and so on. Which
Maybe
suggests
she was nervous being watched.
Possibly. Although I think this is one of the key things that happens, is that, for example, if we're looking at, something like this, I guess here, if I remove a website data from here and reload this page, it's very, very easy to sort of, we all know that the cookie policy thing is there, and it's kind of, it's very easy to fall into this assumption that people who are looking at our site will see the things that, like, say that it was like this, that they'll see what's this thing and say, oh yes, of course I pressed this red close button to get rid of this, right? But other people who are kind of, even when they're not being watched, I mean, there's a whole book called Don't Make Me Think, which is about, realistically, people move past these things like they're moving past billboards on the freeway, right? And so they see little snatches of different things, and they can get stuck saying, oh, I just can't click the sign-in button here. Do you know what I mean?
I mean, we could do something where it starts like that, and then after a timeout of a few seconds, it
Right.
rolls down to just cookie policy close, and then that
Yeah.
could be rolled back up on click.
One of the things that I'm seeing a lot on other UK sites at the moment is that the cookie policy ends up being like a little banner that's about, like 5. Can I do it with like there's about 5 millimeters across, or a centimeter, like here, and it says, "Psst, we use cookies. Click here to accept," kind of thing. And but basically pushes down the whole site, so it doesn't get in the way of anything under any resolution, if you know what I mean.
Mm-hmm.
Anyway, I think it's it wasn't. I think what Rachel was saying, it's not like a huge deal. I think she feels that the flow overall is pretty good. Particularly the new thing, sort of explaining why they're resetting their password and so on. But I think it's, and I think it won't fox all of the people, but it might fox some of the people a little bit. So it's kind of something to think about. The other bit of feedback there was when the user was in kind of the edit setup, which because I can't go to where I want to go to now. If I sign in here as, can I allow something? Let's get rid of that. That they didn't. You guys sign in. What is this anyway? Oh, is this now go? Oh, it's going to that. Oh, I don't know. Now I'm all confused. Oh, I guess I can go to. I have
Just
created
curious,
like. How
does the site work without cookies? Pretty well, or not so much, or?
Works fine, but that cookie acknowledgement never disappears.
Right. Which is a pain. Okay. So anyway, I've got we'll keep the Heroku sites up and up to date while we continue trying out Ninefold. But if we're signed in and we go to an individual like a page like this, so what the feedback or what Rachel saw was that the user who was editing this thing and going through and making it and sort of totally missed this stuff here on the side, like check to display and public listing. Like they did it, they clicked update organization, they didn't notice that in the first instance some of them were missing, and they were just like, all right, I'm kind of done. And it wasn't until Rachel pointed out to them, oh look, well actually if you want your telephone number and your address to be public, you'll need to come in here and click these buttons, click these checkboxes. So I think that's valuable feedback. I've got that down as a note. I mean, we discussed alternatives there. One of which I think the simpler one from Rachel, which I think is a good, which is like maybe moving the checkboxes onto the left-hand side, so that they're just sort of more, in your face, so to speak. The other thing I was talking about was just thinking it would be lovely if we had more of a WYSIWYG editing thing here, so that you kind of clicked edit, it went into edit mode, you sort of stayed here, and then so, if it was, for example, you didn't have some information there, and you clicked edit, and it stayed with this view, and then it kind of popped, they kind of like decloaked, it would make it more visible, about it would bring things to your attention. Anyway, does that make sense? Because the ordering on the two things is different, and you go here, it's difficult for you to remember which things were present in this view versus which things were present in this view. Yeah. Anyway, so maybe I'm spending too long on that. I think that's all. I think that's the kind of. I think it's extraordinarily valuable feedback. Yeah, and then so action items. Yeah, I got to sort out the invoice and the bank account, and I'll need invoices from John and Dave and Marianne and Pete and anybody else who's worked on the volunteer thing as well, and get you all paid. Go on.
Well, we have more to do on that, right?
Yeah, you do. Although the invoicing thing is only, basically, Steve is paying for the things that we did in this basic chunk, whatever it is here, which is to do those first two elements. So I think.
Okay, but now that we've showed it to them, do they have opinions on how it should look and any other things?
I didn't get strong feedback from them on, like, the way that we currently have it seems to be acceptable. What I didn't get from Steve or subsequently from Rachel was, oh, we should be putting. I mean, we have this kind of like, if people are putting their email addresses and websites into their volunteer opportunity, then it would be good to auto-link those. But we're not kind of. I mean, there's clearly more to do and more polishing, but that becomes kind of like a new feature on top of the existing features. If I go to, if we look at the estimate, local support volunteer estimate, what we've got, if I look at this right thing here, is that basically the deal was, that they could pay for this chunk, right, the create opportunities list view, based on, we've got there a total 25 hours worth of stuff that can be paid for, right? So to the extent that people have spent more time than that, we don't have any more money than that 25 hours worth of funds, if you know what I mean.
Oh, of course. And maybe I'm just not used to working for pay, but I just feel like, wow, they're giving us £2,000. I want this thing to be gorgeous, and all we have is half a controller and a couple views.
Yes, indeed. Well, I think that there's certainly, well, we shouldn't necessarily be in a huge rush to, extract payment, but I think we want to move towards. I mean, the particular thing, and this came up with Marcelo was asking about, what I want to be doing is getting set up with the right templates for, making sure that it's all documented properly. In particular, Pete did a template before that a number of people use as an invoice template, but he also did a kind of a sort of spreadsheet layout of, here's the hours, as Thomas did as well, I think, here's the hours that I worked, and here are the YouTube video links to the worked stuff. And I want to make sure to get that from everybody in this case, and going forward. Anyway, yeah, I think, I'm not suggesting that the work is done, but at least Steve has paid Rachel for it, and so we can get set up. I mean, I think you definitely deserve to get paid for the work the time that you put in now, independently of the final result. You know what I mean? That's sort of how the pairing thing. They're not paying us for the final result. They're paying us for the effort that we put in. And if then it's kind of like we end up doing a terrible job, then they're less likely to pay us in future. But yeah, anyway, so so we certainly want to carry on, pushing on it and polishing it and so on. Yes, I guess we've kind of spent 15 minutes there on 10 minutes on local support. I mean, I've got a big long backlist of pull requests, but I'll try and get on those on the train tomorrow and throughout the day tomorrow. Are there any other local support issues that we need to address here and now? Points of coordination? Anybody stuck on anything for local support?
Oh, yeah, Sam, I was not stuck, but I've been found this merge a lot more difficult than I expected it to be, because it overlapped with some refactoring of the specs that was done last week.
Yeah.
So that's kind of can't be helped, but I think we're close to the end of that.
Okay.
I'm just running some specs in the background here as we speak.
Okay. Good show. Right. John, anything that we need to consult on?
No, I don't think so. Those X's should pass if you restart the build, but you don't have to.
Okay. Yeah. I mean, I guess I'm tempted to do that. So that, I mean, other things being equal, tomorrow on the train, I will just start working through these pull requests in order. There's not anything like I shouldn't have to do. There's not like ignore this one and then do this one first or anything. It's just one after the other.
If you go in order, it should be fine. I've daisy chained a couple of them off the top of each other, but I say that fact right at the top.
You've got details in the. Yeah. Okay. I'll
I mean, if you want to just focus on the ones for stuff you've actually requested, the invitations bug and active if.
Yes. I mean, I think the invitations bug thing is something I'm tempted to try and get out. I would love to have that go out into the live the live site. I mean, basically, Rachel's on hold, ready to start sending out invitations to more people. So,
right.
Yeah. But I feel also like I want to get this all cleared up to move on. All right. Well, that's local support. Let's move on to autograders. Hey, Paul, great to have you with us. How are things with you?
Okay. Going all right. Yeah, so I guess there's some thing going on with a deployment.
Yes.
And we were talking about how to get that all the way in there.
Yeah, I mean, yeah. The background picture here is that I catastrophically had thought on Thursday that the homework 0 was for the MOOC was not being released until the following week,
Okay.
purely based, which is deeply ironic because I set up the schedule and set that it was going to be released on May 2nd. But the key reason is that this difference in the way that Dave and Armando set up the MOOC, so that and that's not the right place. But if we go here, in the courseware. Kicking myself this for the end of the day.
We have a woodpecker picking on our metal downspout right now. It's intense.
Is that a euphemism or no, sorry? But sorry. But so, as you can see, like I released all of my edX courses where we have a single one of these this vertical thing as a single week, and I was just totally thrown by the fact that we had these two go into it, and I was like, oh right, on Thursday, oh yes, I'll just release this. Oh, I only have to do that. That's fantastic. And so I spent Thursday dicking around with this, and it wasn't until halfway through Friday, when I'd already recorded videos and whatever, that I realized I had to release this as well, and then the homework was coming up, and then anyway. But so what I had hoped to do is that we would release a new grader instance on which to have all of the homeworks coming through on, and that hasn't happened. And what I did was, we had these two issues that the beta starter instructors had identified with the homework 0, and I cherry-picked those, and I deployed them onto the production grader, which was a bit of a hack. And so now it's time to work our way out of that hack, Jack. So yeah, I mean, I'd love to be able to deploy a new grader. I kind of set up forks on the grader to support that. Well, Paul, you've been trying to do a deploy on an EC2 instance, on a Vagrant instance?
I just did it on Vagrant, Ubuntu Trusty 32.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, and it worked. I had to manually go in and do the bundle install in a couple places.
Right.
And then, but yeah, definitely it was, tested working. So that's nice. It can happen.
Yes. So I'm kind of, I mean, I guess I'm torn there in a different way. One there is this question about, I mean, testing on Vagrant is appealing because we don't have to use up EC2 credits. But I think the key thing is I should be giving you, I should give you SSH access to the EC2 instance. So, and maybe we should go through a deploy on that now. Yeah, I think that's what we need to get into. I'm torn partly because there's also pair programming doing on Manta Tetris, but I'm feeling like maybe I need to prioritize the getting a new autograder out, so that I'm not sure. Well, maybe we'll discuss that in a separate session. So I mean that's the big projects that I mean the other one is the MOOC and the graders and the local support are just blotting out the sun for me at the moment. I don't know if there's anybody who's got any news from website 1 or Cordelia or Sam Pretty. Any thoughts on the MOOC?
It's going well so far. I mean, we haven't really gotten much into the like the main Rails course where really all the questions will start coming in. So it's not much of a problem right now. And I guess I saw a post mentioning like a person who was having difficulty with the Stack Exchange forum. I really don't find any problem with it. So
some people are having a problem with the Stack Exchange forum.
Yeah, there was this. Hold on, I'll just find that question and not.
Well, at least they were able to ask a question.
Yeah,
Yeah.
it's this. Yeah, I mean it. Yeah, I posted in the group chat if you want to have a look.
Yeah. Oh, okay. Yeah, no, this person. Yeah. Someone saying they would find it difficult to discuss things on the Stack Exchange forum discussion. Yeah, I mean, I think and people are pointing this person to the chat. I think what's I think the people have mixed feelings about Stack Exchange. I mean, there was an interesting post from another person who was saying about, yeah, could we please keep the Stack Exchange culture out of this board?
What does that even mean?
Well, I think
No
he doesn't like the way that on some Stack Exchange things you might just want to be having a discussion and chat about stuff. People say no, that's not appropriate. You know,
Oh,
they'll say
right.
like no, that's a you should have done this, or they'll close your thing and they'll say no, this is off topic, or what have you. I mean, I've kind of like, you know, saying, you know, the interesting thing here is that this guy, I haven't read this before. He's saying he would like to have. Oh, this is Tony Zito, who also was complaining about the. So the other big. He's saying, okay, that's interesting. Yeah. Okay. Yeah, somebody who actually likes the old forums, which we all hated, but that's very interesting. But so the other thing is people are getting a little bit worked up about this thing. I basically put in 10 points. You get 10 points for submitting a pair programming video, and some people are like, oh, that's an invasion of our privacy. Oh, I'm deaf. I can't do it and stuff. Which I mean, I think it's serious concerns. I think
I guess the post that guy was referring to was his like hearing problem, I guess.
Yes, no, absolutely. Although I think, I mean, for the hearing disabled person, then that's you know, the fact that they've got chat available in various things. I think it can be addressed. I mean, the big question really is, I think, I don't know. I guess if we are going to continue having this in the course, we need to do a better job next time with preparing people for the fact that they're going to be asked to upload videos, and that might. I mean, I think part of the reason that I said it to be just 10 points is that I think they can still pass the course, you know, completely without doing any of the pairing if they really want to avoid it. But anyway, yeah, the people are exercising themselves over that. But okay. Anyway, but yes. But I guess other than that, nothing critical that we need to address. Is there anything else for anybody?
I guess one thing it would be kind of neat to see would be chat and discussion on one page rather than so separate. That way you don't have to necessarily, you know, you might just happen to see what you're looking for.
Yeah, you mean, well, if for example, that we had the chat was embedded in the bottom of the Stack Exchange page, for example. Is that what you mean?
Sure. Or, yeah, in the middle, yeah. And
Yeah.
then have topics on both sides. You know?
No, I don't really like the idea. Like, I guess the chat on all pages of the course are just enough. Like, if you have the chat on every page on Stack Exchange, that won't really look nice.
Yeah, I don't know. I mean, it's a bit of a redundant thing because I think we have very limited ability to control. Like, Stack Exchange will not let us put the Stack Exchange in a frame, and
yeah,
I mean, it's, you know, to be honest, yeah, I rather than having gone to Stack Exchange, it would have been I would have rather just stuck with the system that Derek used in the which anyway. Anyway, yeah, there we go. So, okay, well, let's rather. Anybody who's planning pairing now? Is John Sampriti, you going to be on stuff?
I'm available.
Paul, you're saying you'll work on Vagrant?
Yeah, I mean, I want to, you know, if John also was interested in that, and definitely I want to do some more of that. So, yeah, keep the ball rolling on Vagrant and across the different projects, but also Sam seems like he wanted to do something specific on the deployment.
Well, on autographs, I guess what I would very much like to do is set you up, Paul, with access to the EC2 instance, and so that we can look at deploying another grade. I mean, the other thing that this this process of me trying to have to deploy and running into sort of issues is I really feel like we want the homeworks in separate repositories so we can kind of have, like. Anyway, I think probably we need to have a bit of a an autograder session. I mean, I would say I'm going to get a coffee now and come back and maybe Paul, if you could start an autograder hangout, that would be good. And then I know Michael was hoping to do more Nanda Tetris with me. I think Michael, I must just at least get Paul set up with this autograder thing. But so if we can get that finished, then maybe we could do some more Nanda Tetris in an hour or so.
Okay.
Yeah, but I'm kind of conflicted. We'll see. Anyway, all right.
And how does that sound for some Vagrant on the other projects in like an hour or so?
That's fine.
Yeah, and I mean the Vagrant is another. We've got more pull requests for the courseware of like, we need them. And they're interesting questions. Okay, I'm going to go and get my coffee. I'll come back. Yeah, Paul, if you could set up a grader hangout, that would be great. And I'll see you all very soon.
Got it.